Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. I just wanted to go over some details about vintage Mercedes locks. So this is going to be information that covers locks that are on the W126, the W124, and the R129. They're all pretty similar. Want to try to show how they work, and then also how can you rekey them. I put together a little kit, so I'll show you that. Great, so here you can see I got one of the roll boxes. This one goes to a W124, but the one for the 126 is similar. They use these kind of locks, and the W126 is a little bit different in that it's chrome. That's how you can tell immediately. The older cars that don't have that have a glove box, and so for the W126 this would be chrome. This one is from a 124. Yeah, and then I have some ones I can kind of show here too that are I'll get to those in a minute. Yeah, so when you get the lock, this is how it looks like when it's unlocked. And so if you actually go and operate this mechanism, like you're going to close it, you push this down. Now there's a little arm poking through. When you go and push this, that arm will retract. So that's what lets you open the box. So when I go and push this, it just pushed it, and then now I can see this piece here. If I push down, you can hear that little click. See, there's the little arm. So it thinks it's locked. Go ahead and push this. Simulate the button. So there it went back up. So that's basically all there is to it. I mean, it's not very secure, but yeah, it is what it is. And so there's a couple differences on these. So besides the way they look, the W124 ones, if you look at the back, you can actually see how the mechanism works first. So this here mechanically will push that and retract that little arm. Okay, so when it's locked, it'll be in a vertical position going up and down. And now if you go ahead and push this, it's not going to push anything. It doesn't actually mechanically push anything at all. And so yeah, to go back here, I have an interesting key I found at the junkyard. And it's horizontal, it's open. So now it's resetting that piece here. The thing that's interesting to note is that the W124 ones, you can see that there's the cylinder, and so this ultimately comes out. On the back, it's just held in place with 1, 2, 3 tabs that are underneath it. And so that is what's holding the cylinder in place. If you break those tabs, you can just take this right off. And you know, just before you do that, just know that if you want to if you have the key, put the key in first, and then you push it out, because then you won't have stuff flying everywhere. I'll get to that in a minute. The W126 one is definitely different. And this one I've already taken apart so you can kind of see how it looks. But it has little arms that go up. And so those little tabs, they go up. And when you turn it, it does ultimately the same thing, where this thing will slide to either push this mechanically or to not push that if you unlock it. That's all that's happening when you turn the key. And the reason this is turning is this is an empty cylinder, so there's nothing in it. I've already broken the tabs. This is, I tried to do it the right way. I tried to get it out safely, but it's pretty difficult. You're going to break those tabs most of the time. So let's just go ahead and take this out so you can see the pieces, the various pieces. So yeah, these are interchangeable. I can't find any difference between the W124 or 126 ones. The only thing that seems to be different is the cylinder. And so here you got 3 tumblers on one side, and then there's 2 on this side. You can see where the spring goes with that little circle. That's the hole that you drop the spring in, and then you can put the tumbler in. And then last, I don't have a 129 anymore, but this is pretty similar. And you can see here that it's got the 2 on one side, 3 on the other. These ones actually have a way to remove it from the car without having to do something like break this tab off. So you can put your key in. Let's just pretend I put this in my car. If you're in your 129, you just go ahead and put your key in, and then you can turn it 45 degrees. So let's say that I turn it like this at an angle, and once you do that, you should be able to pull it out. You might have to shake it, etc., but you should be able to pull this out. And yeah, I would get these because they have the same parts. And also, obviously this cylinder is different, but yeah, and then you want to have the right key, because if you do this to a junkyard car, you can't take it out, number one, without breaking something. But so you don't want the springs to fly out. So yeah, for my own car, I did it because in my case, I had a really old, bad-looking face, you know, and I could have repainted it, but I just swapped it for one that I had like this that looked really good. And so I think I have my original one right here. So it's, you know, it looks pretty bad. So I just took that out, put the new one in. I swapped the pieces over, and no problem. So yeah, you have like those 3 different styles of cylinder. There's also basically 2 kinds of keys. So you have like your regular key. A lot of times they'll call it a master key. Some of them have a red dot, the older cars. And then there's a valet key. And if you just look at it, the valet key doesn't have a line going across it. And so the idea here is anything that would be requiring the access, the master key access, it's going to have the line in it. So if I go try to open up and take out the necklace or something like that from here, the key won't even go in because it doesn't have a groove. So that's the intention with the valet key, is that the person's only going to drive your car. They're not going to take your valuables out of this box, which is really easy to open anyways. And so the master key, though, will go in without a problem. The keys will always fit in, but they just won't turn unless it's a matching key. And so that's where I have one here. And you know, somebody's key broke. Maybe this is the flat key that the older cars used to have, where it came with a key that you put in your wallet, and then they just welded a washer to it, a fender washer. So it's interesting. Yeah, so when you get to how that, you saw that one piece here. So the 126 is raised quite a bit higher. So yeah, it goes probably about 8 or 9 millimeters up in the air. The 124, here's an unbroken one. It's pretty flush. Like, so basically, I love working with the 124 ones because when it's time to switch to the lock, you have to put this back together and the tabs are going to be broken. And since this one's pretty close, you can actually fit an E-clip in here. You can file that down this piece, and I'll show that, and then get it just skinny enough that you can slide your E-clip under, and then bam, you have your new lock. So let me show the kit that I put together, and then I'll kind of go over how do you disassemble some of these pieces. So I just got this organization piece here, and I store all my springs down here. I've gone to the junkyard and taken apart lots of locks and basically just salvaged all the parts out of them that I could, and then I just put them in here. And so basically there's numbering on each one of these. So if I look, this is number 11. So I put those number 11s there. This one is a number 12. So number 12s I put in the second one. This is 13, this is 14, this is 15. There are some that are basically the same except they're reversed. So these are like the reverse of 11, and they're just number 1. So I found these on the outside locks of the car. So, you know, I haven't got and explored that too much. But, yeah, here's a number 1. Yeah, and then I have these pieces that go in the back, because you ultimately need these pieces to put back on. You just have to secure it with an E-clip. The 126 is harder because you need to find something that's at least this tall to slide under here. So if you pop these clips off and you want to have the chrome cylinder because it looks nice, you got to find something that's thick enough to go under here to act like a tab, to hold it in place. Because this thing needs to be able to turn freely, so you can't just glue it. It has to turn freely, but it does need to be held in place so that you can't just push the cylinder out. So here I have another one that's interesting. This is from a glove box. These are great ones for parts too. You know, you can just take this out. They've got a couple screws on them. You just take them out, and here, yeah, you can already see this one's broken. So usually the glove box pieces have, at least on the 124, they have like these grooved pieces, and then rocking this back and forth will open the lock for the door. So take that off. There's the cylinder, and yeah, this is a W124 because it's colored. It's black basically, not chrome. Okay, so the first thing I'll show is just how do you get this apart. So you went to the junkyard, you took a bunch of these. Yeah, maybe you get all of these ones like this, or whatever ones you get. You get a pile of them, and you want to start building your toolkit. Because you saw, like I had, you know, I have all of these 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So each of these came from real locks. So here, I got this at the junkyard recently, and so I don't usually charge too much for them, but what you can do is get the screwdriver, get it under that tab, and just try to break it. And you definitely do not want to bend the metal that's around this lip here. But let's see if I can get it on camera here. Here's one way I'm getting some pretty good luck. So I got one of them so far, and just trying my hardest to not scratch or bend the metal here on the actual cylinder. But what I did is I went under here, angled the screwdriver like a chisel right here at that tab, and then I just have a file, and I'm just using it like a hammer. Kind of see how far. Okay, that got across a little bit. So just basically trying to break the material out so that this thing will drop free. Okay, try it one more time. Okay, yep, that's breaking apart nicely. Okay, and just to share again, when you do this on the W126, it's way easier. So I mean, you just put your screwdriver behind here and just break the tab. And that's it, you're done. The one for the 124, a little bit harder, and ultimately this is the one that you can use when you rekey. So, you know, you will have to eventually do this if you want to do a rekey. Unless you can figure out a way to get this one and have that gap filled. Maybe 3D print something. Have to figure more out about that. I got it, and this is just how I break it loose. I just put the key that I have, just any key, doesn't matter what, on top of it, and it will kind of stay there in that in this little hole like that. And then I just, since it was already mostly loose there, I just, you know, tapped on this, and then it popped loose. So let's check it out real time here. What happens? So this is the part you want to do it very slow. Just try if you pull it out fast, or like if you're in the junkyard when you do this, these things are going to fly everywhere, these pieces. So you want to try to grab it. Okay. And yeah, it looks like I got it pretty nicely. Let's see if I can show you. Yeah, you can see I have those 3 gold pieces. And on this side I have those 2 gold pieces. So as long as you can see the gold pieces, you're good, because the spring's under there. So if you see, it springs back up. So these are under some tension when you're doing it. And yeah, then we can get on to the real fun part. But I'll just kind of put the key in here, because that will hold them in place. Set this aside. So here's the piece I just took the back out of. And if you notice, the plastic clip is still in there. So here, I'll take it out. And ultimately this goes over the end here. So you can kind of see that's how it was held in place. These little clips, which I just scraped out, and they're in really horrible shape. That was what was holding this in place. And so ultimately, this is what we're going to do, is once the key is set, you got the key how you like it, you can literally just take this, file it down. Not going to file the whole thing, but here's just an idea. You put this on, and then you can get an E-clip, and then you slide it under, and it will absolutely fit underneath here. And then you push it until it locks in and holds this in place. And then you have a matching key for your box. So let me show you how this works. All right, taking this off. I'm just going to try to make a key for this. Okay, so if I look at the cylinder, it's got a couple that are sticking up. They're not flush. If that tumbler matches, it'll be exactly flush. And so what you can do when you're testing it is you just go ahead and put it in here and see if it does it turn. It does not turn. You don't need the back piece in. You can just see does it turn or not. So this does not, so this one is not good. So mechanically, these little edges are, you know, smacking the plastic, and it's not able to pass those pieces. So because it's not perfectly flush. So what you do when you have the key out, take it out. You just start with one at a time. So this one here is sticking up quite a bit. So I'll go ahead and match this one on camera. Take this out. Let's see what number it is. Okay. Take it out carefully because there is a spring in there. And if you're just getting it for parts, you can just dump this stuff into your box. You're good to go. Okay. Okay, so this here is number 12. So let's try 13. Go ahead, put this in, and so the side with the spring, this little thing will catch the spring. So put it on like that, push it down, hold this so they don't come out, put your key in, and that's better, but it's not exactly right. So there's a little bit of play there, so it's not flush. I'm gonna go ahead and pull that out. So it wasn't a 13, I'm gonna try a 14. If it's not a 14, I'll try a 15. And that's just kind of how you have to do it. So we already know this one doesn't work. Okay, put the key back in. Okay, and that one also is close. It's even closer, so I think it's going to be a number 15. Let's go ahead and give that a go. Okay. pop it in. All right, perfect match. So this first one looks great. I flip it over. The other ones are a little bit more recessed. That's fine, it'll work. But yeah, as long you just want to make sure they're not sticking out. So I'll have to go through and replace 1, 2 more of these, and I'll do that off camera, and then we'll try turning it in here again. So, yep, still doesn't turn. So let's get those other 2 replaced. I got this pretty good. I went ahead and gave it a turn, and it will turn, but there's a little bit of hesitation. So that means it's catching. So if I go take a look at this again, I can see this one. The ones that are shorter means that the actual tumbler is on the other side. So this one here, see that it's not perfectly flush. So that one, yeah, I can change that. And the rest of them look pretty good. So yeah, when you can see here, you can see it's recessed a little bit. And on this side, it's just up in the air. So I'm going to go ahead and just replace that one, and I think we'll have a perfect match. Okay, it's a number 12. I'm going to go ahead and try 11. And nope, that was the wrong way. So let's go to 13. And there's definitely, I'm sure there's definitely better ways to do it than what I'm doing it. This is just, I know how to get it to work, but I'm not an expert about this, okay? So here, perfect. Nope, wow, okay. Just sticking up a little bit more. Let's try that one more time. I guess these are not tied to length. Yep, that one's just a little bit off too. So that one's also going to be a number 15. Perfect. So all of them are flush. Give it a test. No problem at all. That's turning great. So at this point, you know, if you're ready to just go ahead and get it working, you can pretty much just get your piece, file the top down, put it on, and see if you were able to sneak that E-clip under here. And if you're not, then you need to give it a little bit more file. Okay, so I'm just going to set this lock aside. So as long as the key's in there, they're not going to come out, okay? Put that over here. This piece here, I'm going to go ahead and take off. This is the piece in question. And start filing it down. Okay, just finishing up here. So I got it filed down, and there's enough of a gap there that I should be able to slip something under there. So we'll check that in a second here. And don't want to take too much material off, but you can see where the tabs used to go under. Okay, so the E-clips I'm using are 3/8 of an inch. Metric, that would be about 8 millimeters. But here, I'll see if this will start to go. And so actually, first thing, yep, see if it's not in. Okay, so now it's in all the way. Okay, that's in there tight. Looks like I got a pretty good gap, so just go under here. Definitely takes a little bit of force. Okay, now that's looking pretty good. The important thing is that all three tabs go under the barrel or the cylinder, basically. So if you try to push this out with like I did earlier, it's not going anywhere. Now if I go ahead and turn this, okay, that might be on there too tight. It's yeah, see, it needs to have more. It shouldn't be having as much friction between the clip and the plastic. So I'm going to get that in there a little bit more to get that better. But I mean, you could use it like this, because when you put it back over this way, but that's not the right way to do it. So let me just give this one more go. I'll pop this clip off, get it perfect. And here we have it. So this is exactly how you want it to look, so that when you turn it, the cylinder turns, but the plastic doesn't. So now we just got ourselves a key. It's not coming out. That's the locked position. So when you're going to push this, nothing happens right here in the arm. Go ahead and unlock it. And you can see there's that lever mechanism. This one's probably needing some oil. Yeah, and then basically the last thing would be fitting it back onto your box. So these are pretty easy. Yeah, there's 2 screws up front, 2 screws in the back, and then there's 2 screws under here that actually hold the faceplate on. So when you get those 6 screws off, then you can go ahead and put your new piece on there, and now all your keys match. Kind of a nice touch. So that's pretty much it for this video. And so these, you can rekey these basically using the W124 cylinders. You can do it for 124, 126. The glove box ones, there is probably something you could do. Just have to figure out, you know, get the right plastic piece here and make sure it bites when this turns. Yeah, the 129, that one's just pretty good to know, and I think it shows it in the owner's manual too. Basically, you turn it 45 degrees, and then I forgot there's like a little pin that you have to go and push right through here. And so when you do that, then it will come out, and you can get the cylinder out, and you have to have the key if you want to do that. But you know, you can change the cylinder pretty easy, so that's cool. In case you wanted to have like I did, where yeah, the old one used to be scratched up, and then the new one looks great. So yeah, and this is kind of just a good overview too. I mean, that your house locks work really similar. They're definitely, there's some differences. You can go to Home Depot and get rekey kits. If you go and purchase some locks, they'll actually do it for free, I think. So that's how I kind of learned about it, and then I actually got this collection. And it's pretty cool to have this collection of pieces. So every time I go, I'll try to get to the junkyard, I'll try to get a locking cylinder, and then I have all these pieces for the next person who I want to try to do this for. I got my clips in here ready to go. These are the pieces that go on the other side. They actually move the locking mechanism. Yeah, all the cylinders. Just throw my extra keys in here too. Even if you're just like a junkyarder and you got your console box, this could be a nice little trick. If you get the key, or if you have a key, you can go ahead and key it, and then now your box is worth a little bit more money, because some people don't want to go through this trouble, and as long as they have a key, then they'll pay more for that. So that's something to keep in mind too. And so overall, hope this was useful. Let me know if you have any solutions to some of the other pieces too. Let me know in the comments. Thanks again for watching, and until next time.